Emily Bronte. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about Wuthering Heights. I even wrote a Substack article about it, but let's introduce her a little bit. She was born in England in the Victorian era. She grew up mostly in Haworth. I'm bad at pronouncing names. And she was close to her siblings. She died at 30. She had a very isolated life. They read a lot of books, so her theories on love are really on theories mostly. There are rumors of a relationship having existed once, but nothing is confirmed in no way, sense, or form, so most of it was in theory, and most of it was in Wuthering Heights, and it is said that her emotions play out in Wuthering Heights in the sense of all of the emotions she couldn't experience in real life ended up being played out in Wuthering Heights, which I think is fascinating. Anyways, let's talk about Wuthering Heights a little bit. I think it was heartbreaking on all accounts. I talked about that on Substack, where I felt really bad for the husband of Kathy. Nobody cares for him, and he cares so deeply for her, and I found that so sad. And it almost isn't even highlighted. Anyways, yes, so let's get you some prompts for a love letter. So if you're isolated, if this is maybe your first love, if love has been more of a theory than a concrete thing, then you might be the person who wants to write a love letter like this. Why do you want to even write a love letter? It is so easy to take people for granted. Taking people for granted is like gaining weight. It's by a little bit, and then you see yourself a year later and you're like, I don't know what happened. I didn't even have fun taking this for granted. I didn't even have fun gaining all of this weight because it didn't happen in any fun way. Not that taking someone for granted is the same as eating some good junk food. But it is so easy, and I think it is so easy because it used to not be easy. In the sense of, I've not gotten into that part that much, but you used to have like people go hunting and then return, people go picking fruits and then return. There used to be like a distance and return, and so it was impossible to take someone for granted. You wouldn't know if they would return. They could have died on the way. They could have died. For most of history, people could have died. You're like, do people not die now? But it was much easier to have died. In war, in this, and that, just getting the run-of-the-mill cold could have tipped you over and you could have died. So people were a lot more aware of death and of ends and of things not being there, and you didn't have a phone, so you'd have to write letters. You would actively miss people more. And so the act of taking people for granted, I think, is at an all-time high because it's at an all-time easy to take people for granted. Also, there is no more cost to entry, which there shouldn't be, but to relationships. People would trade cows, which again, I'm not saying let's go back to that, no. But there used to be a cost to entry to something. There used to be like just a huge investment into something, not just monetarily, but there was a meaning to something added on, which now sometimes we lack. And so I think a love letter is a great mental exercise for that, for not taking someone for granted. And I think there's almost this shame of like, oh, I've taken someone for granted, I should be so ashamed. It is human nature, it's just a part of human nature you don't want to keep on going with. It's the same way storing fat is human nature. The fact that you are the ancestors of the people who could store fat, for the most part. Because you would need to store fat, otherwise you'd die. They didn't have a constant supply of food. That's why they couldn't take food for granted. They didn't have a constant supply of things, so nothing got taken for granted. I mean, salt used to be a luxury, but I digress. Okay, let's go into the prompts. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. Number 1. What are your souls made of? Is the first prompt. What are your morals? What are your values? What are the things that make you you that aren't your flesh, your blood, your money, your worldly possessions? And this doesn't have to be an esoteric or religious thing. It just has to be something that's really rooted in what you guys are bonding over, what your souls are made of. And package it in such, I think, is a really cute way to do that. If all else perished and he remained, I should still continue to be. Okay, the next prompt is, if the world ended and you two would be the only two left, what would you do during the first week? How would you rebuild the world and society, and in what ways would you rebuild the world and society in a better way? Are you maybe above average kindness as a couple? Are you above average intellect as a couple? Would you put together a different school system because you've both had horrible experiences at school? What would you do? Third and last prompt. He's more myself than I am. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. In what ways is she a better version of you? What are you learning from her or him? You can always switch it, obviously, if you're a girl writing for a guy. But it's just easy to use that because I think majority are probably going to be in that direction. But I think it's really, really cool to learn something from someone. And I think women probably get that compliment and that feedback a lot less because they're sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes their skills are less obvious ones. That sounds like such a backhanded compliment. You have the non-obvious skills, but you know what I mean. And I think there's so many, I think they're called soft skills. I don't know if that's the real word for it, but it's like the social skills and all of these skills that I think are really, really cool. Yeah. Okay, don't forget to like and check out all my books because I'm a writer and a poet. And yeah, I hope this helped. Are you a question or an answer? The fools who think to stand alone with an idea is scary are the same that see comfort in the majority. But if the majority was right, no one would write. No one would think to raise a pencil to each of the new empty papers. Nobody would want to turn paper into pages. Because the peace a writer searches for in a blank page would be found in the world. The discussion of right or wrong is subjective, yet, most of the time, the ideas we love would fade away as quickly as everybody else. We love to be loved, but don't love to be questioned. Yet, wouldn't you rather be a question everybody answers differently than an answer nobody knows? They might never see you, and you might never see them. They might never see you. They might never hear the disappointment in your silence. They might never know the sentences you want to say but don't in fear of sounding like a broken record. They might never see all the insecurities you don't point out to them because you're scared they will stand out to them now too. They might never see the small changes in your pupils when you look at them because they never see your eyes when you don't look at them. They might never see you outside of the context of them. They might never hear the small sighs in the morning when you start another day trying to be better, but being pretty sure you will fail. They will never hear the songs you skip because they make you too emotional. They will never hear all the things you think are so clear, but you never said to them. You might go through life hearing different reviews of the series of books which is your life, none true, but some quite inventative and far-fetched. You might never be seen or heard the way you crave to be. But maybe you will, and that maybe makes it exciting. That small string of maybes might hold you up. It is what makes you go out on yet another date you hate to get dressed, to get to know someone outside of their home, to try to talk. The small maybe is what we live for. The small maybes of life. Maybe I'll run into the love of my life. Maybe the career I love will love me back. Maybe this life is worth another try, she says, with a small but sharp sigh. So quiet that only another maybe could hear it. And maybe someday the two maybes turn their sighs into laughter and their ears into their most used part themselves. Who knows? Maybe. Even horrible things have to start. What's the point of trying if all I do is wrong? He thinks the second part of the sentence, why am I guilty until proven innocent? I am a New York journalist. My birthday is on the 24th of December 1994. I just turned 30. It's Christmas and I'm alone in all the ways a soul can be and a body cannot be. I am 1 meter 95, 58 centimeters. Or in feet, that's 6 feet 5 inches. I know I shouldn't be so exact, and to be honest, I'm not even such a numbers guy. But that's partially how the world has defined me. And since it's one of the few positive traits I get complimented on, I keep it close. Like a lonely woman and her Birkin. I swear I'm not as shallow as I sound, he says to his date, Annabelle, who clearly is just as annoyed at life as he is. They both do the first date angry tango. They both thought at least twice, well, you seem nice. Why are you still single? But what they actually ended up saying was, what do you bring to the table? He says. His date replies, nothing. We are at a restaurant, so last I checked, that's the waiter's job. Then she fell into a laugh so deep you would have thought she was a comedian who just hit a comedic home run. That was the first page and one sentence of the second page of my fiction book. It's called The Great Souls Disconnect. If you also just look up my name, Anna Cobbler, I will put it here how to type it. Also, it's my username. You can check it out on Amazon. It's available on Kindle and hardcover. Look at this cover. I hope you enjoyed those trailers of my books, and if you want to read on, order them on Amazon. Everything is linked in the description, always. And you can also always look it up under my name, Anna Cobbler. Thanks.